Me again, K-bar user. Alright, part 3. What you need to know out here is the keys to if you're lost. If you're a hunter and you're lost, you're a camper, you're lost, you're a backpacker, you're lost. There's a couple of keys to it. One of the keys to getting back home alive is knowledge. That is the whole key to our bushcrafting, woodcrafting, surviving, the whole 9 yards, is knowledge. Yes, there are people who have no knowledge whatsoever that come out here for a weekend and they go home fine. They plan to be here. We come out here, we carry minimal kits. Why? Because we have the knowledge to know how to use what we have in these kits. Or you can carry a 100-pound backpack and let your gear work for you. Either way, you're enjoying the outdoors. But the key to all of it is knowledge. And like I said, these are, videos for my future. So, knowledge is your first key of getting to where you want to be. If you're hunting and you're lost, you're going to panic because you're lost in a strange area. You're not going to get lost in a familiar area. Alright? Now, first thing you start to do is, oh my God, and you start trying to figure out where you're at. Well, if you knew that, you wouldn't be lost. Take 10 minutes to figure out where you're at, but don't move from where you're at. Just take 10 minutes to figure it out. Look around, Sometimes people get turned around, they don't recognize things because they're all turned around and they weren't paying attention. When you stop, you calm down, sit down for a few minutes, you recognize the place. But then after that, the knowledge kicks in. Now, knowledge would be, okay, I've got a knife with me. I've got this, I've got that. Knowing what to build to make your night comfortable. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, November. It gets dark at 5:30, 6 o'clock. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to need all the rest of that time to gather firewood for the night, and you're going to need a bunch of it. You're going to need to build yourself a shelter, even if it's just a small lean-to of some kind. But it's all in the knowledge of knowing how to build that lean-to. It's all in the knowledge of, do I have enough stuff with me to get overnight. Now, there's 3 basics to living out here. Fire, shelter, and water. That's your basics. We'll cover them 3. Don't worry about it. We'll get to them. Fire, shelter, and water. Can you get by with a little bit of water? Yes, you can overnight. Can you get by 3 days of water? No, you can't. Maybe in a cooler conditions you can if you don't do much. But if it's a warmer climate or you're moving around, and believe me, if you're panicked, you're going to be buzzing. So, yeah, it's possible you're not going to make it without a lot of water. You're going to need a lot of firewood. You're going to need to put up some kind of shelter so that you're not just squatting next to the fire all night long, which a lot of people have done. A lot of people have survived the nights just squatting next to a fire. But remember this, if you're out here hunting and you're lost because you're in a strange area or you wandered off where you don't know where you're at, strange area, remember this, you can squat in front of a fire and survive. So you can build a fire, learn how to build 3 to 4, 5 different methods of fire. But practice them. Gain that knowledge. to know that, all right, I'm out here with a ferro rod. Can I get a fire going with that ferro rod? When I first started learning how to use, well, they called them metal matches then. I first started learn how to use a ferro rod. I could not get a fire started if they paid me to. I've tried dead leaves, I tried you name it. Here's where the knowledge comes in. Because I kept practicing until I got fires going with everything. The reason why I couldn't get a fire going is, well, you take these metal matches and you scrape them with the back of your knife. It scrapes off sparks of steel and magnesium and starts the fire. The sparks. They're hot enough, they burn around 2400 degrees to ignite most anything. Most anything. I wasn't getting enough sparks, I wasn't getting enough this, I wasn't getting enough that. I practiced long enough to where I could get a fire going with a ferro rod just about anywhere. A flint and steel, a Bic lighter, and matches. You can get a fire going anywhere. You've got to learn the knowledge to get them going. Shelters. Shelters, some people say, are your first line of defense. Some people say they're not. But if you can't get a fire going, I would sooner have a shelter up. So at least shelter you can warm with body heat. You've got to make them really small. And the more uncomfortable they are, the better off you are. They're easier to heat that way. So the shelters, it's the knowledge again of learning how to build debris huts, lean-tos, whatever you have on your body. Next is, what do we do with all of this? Well, when you go into the woods, I've got a wide brim hat on. Not because I want to look like a cowboy, not because it's, the thing to do. It's because this gives me a microclimate under here. Keeps the wind out of my face, keeps the rain off of my head. Your head is where you lose most of your body heat, and your feet, your neck and your wrist. But this protects my head, protects some of my shoulders, protects my face, keeps the sun out of it, keeps the rain out of it, keeps my head warm. So now I've just created a micro shelter for my head. This is an insulated vest. It's got this little fur lining in it. For my climate right now, it's 50 degrees out here. This is nice and comfortable. Pants I got on are moisture wicking fleece pants, fleece lined pants, and I have my typical shoes on that I wear every day. Now, here's where the knowledge comes into play. Your first line of defense in the woods. First line. You're wearing your shelter. You're not doing anything else with it, but you are wearing your shelter. Check the weather. If the weather said that the low is supposed to be 45 degrees tonight, that's what you dress for. Don't dress for the 50-degree day or the 60-degree day that we have some of them around. Sometimes you hit 70. Don't dress for them days. Dress for your nighttime low. If you dress for the nighttime low and it gets 5 degrees below or it's 5 degrees above, you're going to be comfortable. If it's 70 degrees outside, you could take clothes off. But it gets cold at night and you're lost, you could put clothes back on. If you come out here without enough clothes on, if I come out here in a t-shirt and pair of shorts, guess what happens? Last night was 43 degrees here. If I can't get a fire going, I have nothing to make a shelter with, I'm basically up the creek. I'm going to spend one cold, shivering night. Not saying I won't make it, but it's not going to be very nice. So, the knowledge of knowing that, okay, This is my first line of defense, is what I put on my body. The microclimate for my head. Microclimate for my core temperature. This is what you got to worry about right here. When this fails, you die. If it gets too cold, it will fail. If it gets too hot, it will fail. And you will die. Got pants on. Honestly, pants so much, it's not so much of a factor because they, your legs don't get as cold as the rest of your body, but you do have a femoral artery that runs through your leg. You do have nerve endings in your leg. Now, we're not one of these guys that run around in shorts in 20-degree weather all the time. We wear pants. So we're not used to that cold, so make sure you have pants on. Same thing with my feet. I am unprepared for this weather. I have a moccasin type shoe on. I don't have any socks on with them. My feet's going to get cold tonight. My feet gets cold, you start shivering. Believe me, it's really funny how things react differently to bodies. But you need to know your own body. You need to have that knowledge to know, okay, with my body, my nose gets cold, I'm freezing. My feet get cold, I'm freezing. My back gets cold. Now I'm in trouble. My back gets cold, I get stiff, I can't move. Now I'm in a little bit of trouble. So it's all about the knowledge of your body. The knowledge of knowing that, this is your first line of shelter. The knowledge of knowing how to build a shelter. The knowledge of how to get water, how to procure water, how to procure food. While you're out here and you're lost. Gain that knowledge. It's all over YouTube. And through the course of my videos, I'll put some in there too. But go all over and gain this knowledge. There's nothing wrong with reading a survival manual. And practice it. If you don't practice it, you don't have the knowledge. You've got what they call a working knowledge. That means, hey, I know there's some kind of shelter that I can make. That's working knowledge. You know this. But you don't have the knowledge of being able to make it. That's the whole key. When we get into kits later, and how to make up a bag, survival bag, survival kit, whatever you want to call them. I call it a survival system for myself. When we get into that, making that later, we'll discuss more about carrying shelter with you, carrying some way to get water with you, carrying enough stuff to make fire with. But when you first start in this is your first layer of shelter. This is your first layer of getting water. Your body will obtain enough water through the day, if maintained right, to carry you over. I'm not talking about a 72-hour lost survival system. I'm talking about overnight lost. That's what most guys are. They're lost overnight. As far as fire is concerned, you have a pretty good knowledge of fire. Just carry some matches with you. Start with small sticks, build yourself up to big wood. So anyway, that's knowledge. And knowledge is key. There's also the knowledge of knowing that I know where I'm at. I can get out of here tomorrow. I just got to make it through tonight. There's that knowledge too. There's knowledge of all kinds. But that's your key to everything, is the knowledge of everything you do. So this is K-Bar User. Hope you learned something from this video. Gain some knowledge. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please do. Please comment. I love comments. And we'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a good day.